And he clicked on that text message app so fast that I couldn't react to it or realize. My wife couldn't react to it or realize. And before the guy knew it, he got jump scared. Welcome back. I'm Fortuitous, an illustrator and comic artist. And for today, I have decided that the Draw and Talks topics are going to be 2 embarrassing stories. One involves me being tableless at a market, and the other involves a T-Mobile salesperson seeing some spicy art that he shouldn't have seen on my wife's phone. So yeah, let's stop hesitating and go on ahead and jump in. All right, so the first one happened about a year or so ago. And it was my first ever market that we had ever done. Up until that point, we had been like pretty exclusively doing cons, and cons are, from what I know, very different from markets in this aspect of like what you bring. Like obviously you're going to bring your products and stuff like that, right? Duh, of course, whatever. But usually markets, you have to bring your own tables and stuff as well. And cons, you don't. So Chance decided that he wanted to not think about the couple of emails that he received saying that we would have to bring our own tables. And instead, he was going to focus on trying not to forget the backdrop or the products and like the usual stuff that I tend to forget, right? So the night before, we packed the car and, you know, did a thorough check. Okay, we got everything good. We go to work the next day because at the time I was full-time and still working in office. So we had to kind of like plan stuff a little bit in advance. Well, we ended up leaving a little bit early. I would say about 30 minutes early, but that would give us about like an hour to set up for the market, which is more than enough time for us usually. For this time, maybe not so much. So anyways, we ended up, parking the car, getting all the stuff out. We got our 2 suitcases, like a print stroller and like a wagon to carry like some of the other like miscellaneous heavy things. Yeah, we're all like nervous but confident. We're gonna have a great time. It's gonna be a great night. And so we start heading up like this final slope that kind of like gets into like this pavilion kind of area. It's like our town's like market area where like the Saturday like farmers market happens, stuff like that. Well, the market that we went to, which is an oddities market, was there as well. So we enter we go up on the final slope, and I'm feeling it. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling myself. And we crest over that, and I suddenly noticed that none of the other like spots have tables. Like when you enter Artist Alley for a con, like all the tables are set up with your name tags and stuff on there, and you just kind of like go to where you need to go. Well, there were no tables, and there was barely like numbering even on the spots, but we eventually found the spot that we're supposed to go in, so that's no big deal. But the only tables that were there were the tables that people had already brought themselves. So after that realization, I'm kind of like having a mild like panic inside, but on the outside, I'm just like calm, cool, and collected. I'm going to go find my spot. It's going to be okay. Everything's going to be great. And I get to the spot, or we both get to the spot, and I look, and not only is it giant, but it's a corner spot. I had completely forgotten that I got a corner area. So now that means I, in fact, need 2 tables. It's a 10-foot by 10-foot area. And the directions is going to be coming from both sides, basically. And so I'm, having a mild panic, not knowing what to do. Obviously, I've told Lena, my wife, hey, we have a problem. We don't have tables. And as a matter of fact, we probably need 2 tables. And so she offers to go to the store and grab and go buy some tables. And I'm thinking, I don't know if we should do that or not, because it's so far away and we have to do a lot, and it would just eat up into like our setup time. And I didn't know I just didn't know if we would get back in time basically with them. So before we made like any decision on like what to do, I quickly racked my brain and I was like, all right, I'm going to call my sister to see if she has a table that she can let me borrow. So I do that, and thankfully she answers, and she does, in fact, have a table. And she just so happened to be coming to the market anyways that night, I think without even realizing that I was going to be there. And so she was just going to swing by and drop it off, and come a little bit earlier than she was expecting to. So I was like, oh my gosh, thank God, at least we have one table. But I still wanted the two tables because I'm trying to maximize like this space now. And I don't want to look silly having like this corner area and not have anything to fill it with, right? So I go and I talk to a couple of friends that had set up there as well. And it was a long shot, but I was like, hey, do you guys have any tables? And with that, they told me no, that they didn't. But one of my friends borrowed a table from the place that we both work at. So I was like, oh, okay. I'm going to quickly call my boss really fast and see if there's any extra tables and maybe potentially if he could bring me one. So I call him and he answers. And so I ask the question of, hey, are there any tables at the office that, I could borrow? And lo and behold, there in fact was an extra table that I could borrow, and he was willing to bring it. Oh my gosh. But until then, like my wife and I just like kind of just like stood in our booth, you know what? We're just chilling. We're just, everything's fine, everything's cool, nothing wrong is happening. We're getting everything settled. Nothing is wrong. Until finally, my sister shows up, and then about 5 minutes later, my boss shows up, both tables in hand. And so they effectively saved our butts for real, because that market ended up being, at that point, like the best sales day that we had ever had. We had made, I think, over like $1,000 in just that one night. So, and I sold a canvas print as well. And yeah, that was so stressful, but it was like something that I will never forget. I will never forget that sinking feeling of showing up somewhere and not having what you need, especially like something that is as important as a table. Like, I don't know, we would have ended up having to go to the store, right? So there was always that option, and hopefully the store would have a table. But like the place was so crowded. Imagine just standing there, not being able to sell anything with people looking at you, and you don't have a table because we couldn't leave our stuff. So my wife would probably be the one to go out into the store and grab something, or vice versa. But yeah, wow, that was a time. And we haven't forgotten tables since. We've definitely forgotten other things, but tables, nope. Mark that off the list. We're good there. But okay, on to the second story. But first, if you're enjoying this silliness, please hit that like button to give some juice to the algorithm gods. And if you want to keep seeing this content, maybe, maybe a little subscribe is in order. And, just maybe. You might want to click that button down there, Also, my wife and I have a queer fantasy webcomic called Cycles, and we also have a Patreon that gives you all the things like being ahead on pages, bonus content, like concept art, polls, and what the actual next topic is about, spicy art. So if you're into that kind of thing, we have different tiers for different people. Go on ahead. There's a link down below to the Patreon, but also there's links to the free editions of the comic on Webtoons, Tapas, and its own hosted site. So go on ahead and give those a click, or maybe click on them after the video so you could hear the craziness that happens next, because it is real dumb. But yeah, give it a read. We would sincerely appreciate it. So thank you so much, and let's get on to the next story. Okay, so This next story is a bit silly and dumb, and I don't know how it happened to us, but I do know how it happened to us. So this past year, I've gotten into drawing the spicy sort of content, and I don't know, it just happened randomly, and I enjoyed making it, so I was like, you know what, let's just keep making it. So I've actually been getting much better, but that's neither that's neither here nor there. This isn't about that. Well, it is, but anyway, so enough stalling. Whenever I would get done making said artwork, I would always send it to my wife via text message, as one would do, She has to check it to make sure it looks good, right? Well, her phone randomly broke one of these days. It was one of those like flip phones that, you could fold it on itself or whatever. And eventually it just got worn out, and I think she had dropped it one too many times, and eventually like half of the screen broke, and so it was hard to like tap on it to do much of anything. So it was time for her to get a new one, and it legitimately was like her plan was up, like her whatever, her like rollover thing where she could get a new phone was up anyways. It all just kind of worked out, so we decided to go to the store to just go on ahead and get a new phone. We get to the T-Mobile, and it was a little bit crowded. Now I should preface this by saying that my wife is on her family's plan, where I'm on my family's plan. So we both have like different carriers. So there's nothing I can do to like help in this instance, right? So that being said, we get there, we get to the store, it's a little bit crowded, but we patiently wait our turn, and then it's finally our turn. My wife goes up and she's like, hey, I'm going to be your easiest sale of the day. This is exactly what I want. If you have it, I'm ready to buy it. Let's go. And so, the guy was like, all right, cool. Let me go in the back and see. He finds the phone and he's like, this is it. And she's like, yeah, that's it. And so everything's going good, blah, blah, blah. And so what I'm used to, because I bought my last phone online, I'm used to getting it and then transferring the number and everything else like by myself. And it just happens. You just follow the directions and you're good. So I'm thinking that that's what's going to happen here, where they're just going to give her the phone and then we can struggle our way through getting like that, getting her stuff onto her phone, basically. Should be easy, maybe quick, but no, they want to go on ahead and try and transfer it there while we're in the store, which makes sense because that's probably like what the purpose of going to an in-store kind of thing is you get that added benefit of you not having to do it yourself. But whatever, I wasn't thinking about that. But what I was thinking about at that point was the fact that I had literally messaged her a naughty picture, or a naughty piece of art rather, the day before. And I think the only text after that was her like making a witty comment about it or something like that, right? Oh, Lord. So I remember that. And there's a little bit of me that's getting a little nervous, like, oh no, like, is he going to, because he's going to be the one trying to transfer it. So is he going to see it? And I'm like, there's no reason for him to go through the text messages. I'm sure it's like some like buttons that you have to press and it'll all be fine. Whatever. Like he'll call a number on the phone at most, right? So we're cool. We're good. Well, you apparently have to be an admin to transfer a number. Like, so if you're in store and you're not an admin of that account, then you're technically not allowed to transfer. So my wife had to call her mom and be like, Mom, make me an admin on your account. Like, give us the PIN or whatever. And so my wife's mom was confused as to why she had to do that. And she was thinking about coming down to the store. And Lena, my wife, was like, I just want to get this over with. And so somehow the salesperson found a way to like work around like the admin situation. I don't know how, but he basically made Lena an admin of the account. Whatever. We were happy about that because then that's like a one less thing for us to worry about, and then we can just get it done and over with faster. Well, in order to access this, how like there's text message validation things set up, just to make sure that it's the real you kind of situation. Yeah, well, this guy was going so fast on this broken screen. I still don't know how he was doing it to this day. I guess he just figured out like the correct areas to press, and he was definitely pressing them fast enough, working off of the top screen. And he clicked on that text message app so fast that I couldn't react to it or realize, my wife couldn't react to it or realize, and before the guy knew it, he got jump scared. I think he made like a noise when he clicked on it, and in that moment, my wife jumped on her phone basically and grabbed it and says, "I'll deal with this. Just let me know what I need to do." And so, as if you're a mobile phone salesperson, I'm sure you run into like the random, messages that are maybe a little bit, whatever. And maybe you run into a pic that isn't quite the best thing to see. But this was like straight on fantasy smut. Like, we got some magical items. We got some, that's all you need to know. If you want to know more, go to the Patreon link. That image is there. That with a whole slew of other images if you're into that kind of thing. But yeah, so and what's crazy is he somehow ends up with the phone back in his hand, and then like as he's like trying to navigate through after this, we've already kind of just been like, we're not saying anything, whatever. But he ends up finding his way somehow like into like her downloads. I think he misclicked or something. And like one of the top things on her downloads was another image. And now I don't think this one was as graphic as the first one, but it was still like, so boy must have been like, what the heck is wrong with these people? And I'm just like, they're dying on the inside. My wife is just like, at this point, she's like, well, we're here now. What can we do about it? I'm sure he's seen worse kind of thing. And you know what? That's probably true. That's probably 100% true. Because the one that he saw wasn't the most graphic one. But, it definitely was. It definitely was probably different for him to see. I'll put it that way. So yeah, so he ended up seeing two images that he probably wish he hadn't seen that day, and I feel a little bad about it. But so yeah, we got that all figured out. We walked outside and we both like quietly screamed for like 5 minutes and laughed, and I declared that if it's possible, the next time she has to order online, and I've also pretty much stopped sending her those images via text message, because you never know when somebody is going to have to validate something through your text messages, I guess. Wow. Yeah. It was dumb. It was a time. It happened. Hopefully it never happens again. I feel so bad for him. So, yeah. I hope these stories were fun for you. I definitely put my embarrassment on the line for entertainment and content, but now I kind of just look back and, these things are all funny and just kind of crazy and dumb. So we'll see if I can come up with anything else. I'm sure I've done more embarrassing stuff that I can share with you guys. If you guys like this enough, maybe I'll share some more. We'll see. But yeah, if you have any embarrassing moments that you would like to share down in the comments to make me feel less alone, by all means, go on ahead and share some. And if you haven't liked or subscribed, go on ahead and do those. We have to feed those algorithm gods, you know how it be. And again, go read Cycles. If you want to join the Patreon, by all means, go ahead and do that. It's not required, obviously. But until next time, I hope you guys have a wonderful week and stay cool. Bye.